A lot of students fail their last Krok 1 attempt. Today we will speak about why did that happen and how you can avoid that. 7 months separate us from the Krok 1 exam for medical students, while 4 months for the dentistry students. That's why this video is extremely important for third year students having this exam this year. So we will speak about what is a Krok exam, the minimum passing score, how to apply for the exam, most importantly, how to prepare the right way, common mistakes and myths usually we have, and why is it important to study for the exam. About me, myself, my name is Khalil. I'm a fifth year medical student in National Medical University. I passed Krok 1 2 years ago with the 95%, was the second highest mark. And I'm helping students pass the exam for 2 years already with my course for Krok 1. Just a quick note, the information here is have some official source from test center, and some of the information is not official. It's according to my own research and experience and so on. So briefly, what is Krok 1 exam? Of course, many of you know about it. It's a exam at the end of third year which tests you for the basic medical information. The main section is 3 hours, 150 MCQs, and we have a terminology section which is 30 questions of 1 hour as well. So totally it's 4 hours. We have 2 attempts, and a third attempt was recently introduced because of COVID for those that had some extraordinary situations, and that should be discussed with your university to allow you to this attempt. The thing about Krok that makes a lot of students scared about it and makes it extremely important, we know all information about it, how to prepare and so on, that in case of failing both chances, you are expelled from the university or asked to repeat the third year. That's why this is important to know. Minimum passing score for the exam is 60% for the main part, 150 MCQs, which is like about 90 MCQs right, while for the terminology or foreign language proficiency test, it's 10 out of 30 MCQs right, it's about 30% right. About the exam contents, there are 9 subjects, 9 basic medical subjects you had in the first year, second year, and third year, as you can see. The highest not all the subjects come in the exam equally. The highest percentage of subjects that come most often are pathological anatomy, pathophysiology, pharmacology, physiology, and biochemistry. And I conducted my little analysis on the last 3 years of previous year questions. And yes, this is true. As you can see, pathophysiology in 2020 had like 30% of questions. Okay. Also, this percentage same for path morphology, pharmacology, biochemistry, physiology. Most of the questions came about them. So if we can divide them, we can divide. More asked subjects are like the 5 subjects we spoke about. Often asked, okay, 10 to 15 questions about them in each booklet are anatomy and microbiology, and least asked are biology and histology. That's why you should take that into consideration in your preparation. For example, if you have 2 months left for the exam, you don't open you solve more pathophysiology questions instead of histology, for example. If you have an anatomy question you will spend 20 minutes on it to understand it, while you can solve 4 questions of pathophysiology at the same time, you should go for the second option, and so on. How to apply for the exam? Application is easy because it's all done by your university. From your side, you have to submit only your notarized copy of your passport. Just a note here that if you renewed your passport after you gave this notarized copy, okay? So you gave in a copy of your old passport, then you renewed your passport and you got a new one. So you cannot enter the exam with this new passport. You should submit a notarized copy based on the new passport. So it can get updated. And because you cannot enter with a new passport with different serial number to the exam. They check for your identity before entering for the exam. So make sure that the passport you enter for the exam is the same passport you submitted for notarization, or you submitted for applying for the exam. Uh, if you can't do this, okay, our university allows that you bring the old passport and the new passport together to avoid confusion. So check with your university for that. And please don't lose an attempt because of a silly reason like this one. Okay, the big question, how to prepare for the exam. A lot of students start by doing MCQs, and then like if they find difficulties in these MCQs, they refer to the textbooks, YouTube, internet to find answers. And this is what I use and used by most students. So where we can find these MCQs, which MCQs we should solve, the main three sources MCQ students use are bases, booklets, and Krok 1 ministry book. So what are booklets? Booklets are previous Krok 1 exam papers. Okay, the total number of available booklets are 24 booklets, which is about 4,300 MCQs. A lot of MCQs you have to cover. Between 2005 2019, there are 15 booklets, but the thing is, between 2020 and 2021, there are 9 booklets instead of 2 booklets only. They are 2 years. So because of COVID, because of like these extraordinary situations, we had extra tries, extra attempts, and we had more booklets. So as you can see here, first attempt is split over 2 days. That's your exam will be also for medicine. And for when you are studying the basic booklets you should solve, okay, you should practice, are the 15 booklets from 2005 2019, the first attempt of 2020, and the first attempt of 2021. So these are in total essential for studying 19 booklets. Now if you want to do extra practice, you have extra time, you can go for the second attempts, winter batch, papers, third attempt. Okay, you can do that as well. It's like excellent practice. From where you can study these booklets and find them, students can like this book. Okay, it combines all booklets in one book. It's physical, they can take it with them anywhere. It's small, but the main disadvantage of it is that all answers are A. Like you are just reading the question and then the answer are A automatically, and this does not activate active learning or active recall of the information or active thinking. It's just reading, so it's like a big disadvantage, and I don't recommend it. What I used and what a lot of students use is a website called eNeutron. It has all the booklets from 2005 till 2021. So just the downside of it is that it's not physical like the real exam. It's not something you touch. So you have to like combine the two, maybe print some booklets to practice that. But eNeutron, I recommend it and it's good. Second MCQ source is our bases. What are the bases or BASA? They are MCQs divided according to the subject. So from booklets, they took, for example, booklet 2005 anatomy questions, 2006 anatomy questions, and they made a base out of it. So the most used base is 2015 base, okay, even though that it is called 2015 base, but it contains only questions from 2005 till 2011. For example, anatomy base 2015 contain anatomy questions from booklets 2005 till 2011. So keep that in mind. When you study these bases, you should study just to remember some information about these subjects, but you will not study all of the questions about it in the booklets, because there is no subjects base for booklets 2012 onwards. So when you study only bases, you study practically only 7 booklets, 2005 till 11. And also you can study these bases in eNeutron website. So the disadvantage of these bases, as we said, is that you miss a lot of important MCQs that are like from 2012 booklet onwards, about 3,000 MCQs. And also these bases are poorly organized and they are less understandable. Let me explain. So, for example, this is anatomy base. As you can see, the first three questions in the anatomy base are all biology questions, protozoas and helminths and so on. So they are not related to anatomy. You open anatomy base and you are studying biology. Or when they are anatomy questions, really, you see that one question talks about upper limb anatomy, one question talks about oral cavity anatomy, one question about GIT anatomy. So it's all mixed, okay? Each question you have to approach as a single topic. It's time consuming, so you have to keep that in mind. That's why in our course, Krok 1 course, we have a base that is updated, okay? It have all the 2005 till 2021 questions divided according to the subject, okay? No other subjects mixed with it, okay? And according to the topics, let me show you one of the examples of our base. For example, anatomy base 2021. It contains all the questions of anatomy in all booklets since 2005, separated according to the topic. For example, upper limb, we bring all the questions, we explain them, theory, and then we apply what we have in MCQs, and then you have a quiz on it. So you master upper limb anatomy. Then we go to lower limb and so on. So in that case, you master the topic instead of just taking something from here and thinking this is like efficient. Okay, the third MCQ source is Krok 1 Ministry Book. This source you should use as extra practice when you already studied the bases and booklets well. So it contains a lot of MCQs, more than 2000, also divided according to the subjects, and this is like recommended for students who want high marks like plus 90%. So how to use the booklets and bases the right way, considering what we said so far. So if you still have like, you are studying now in January and you are still have like six months for the exam, your exam in June, for example, for medicine, you start doing the bases, the subjects, and you get a good understanding of the 9 subjects, okay, like good understanding of anatomy, biochemistry, etc. And by this you already studied booklets 2005 till 2011 by doing the base of 2015. After you finish these, okay, maybe it takes you 2 months, you start doing the booklets, maybe somewhere around March, okay. You cover booklets starting from 2005 till 2021, okay. And you take notes, you have a notebook for Krok 1, so you keep everything in mind in one place. If you still have time, you finish the booklets, you can do the ministry book added. Okay, added to it to reinforce concepts and practice more. If you started late, like if you have only 2-3 months for the exam, you start doing booklets starting from 2010, okay, because you don't have much time. What if you started and you had some difficulties finding the answers? Questions seem hard to you, you have a lot of gaps in the first and second year, so self-studying is not working out, you do not want to fail the year and lose time and money. Also you have difficulty in time management and you need commitment. So maybe you are interested in one source that makes you pass the exam with less effort, and it does not matter what basics you have, it will take you from zero to master any topic and saves your time. So this is our complete Krok 1 course, which had a 96 success rate last year. Most of our students passed the exam successfully, and how we are doing it together, and how we did it and how we are doing it this year. You will have deep understanding of the Krok 1 concepts using our updated bases, like we said, with the revision of the booklets and ministry book ideas. So everything in one place, everything will be simplified, so you are not confused. Also, you will know that you are on the right track using our quizzes and mock exams. So the Krok exam in June will not be your first serious exam. You will have about 5-6 mock exams before it, like starting from February. So you get used to the atmosphere, environment of the exam, and you do not like enter the exam for the first time and you feel lost in it, and maybe you fail it. Also, you'll be guided what to do in each period close to the exam. Okay, so maybe you have some situations you had to take a break, and then you have some gaps in your study. So we will tell you, guide you what to do, what to study in this period, what to focus on, so you can pass it in the easiest way possible. So if you are interested, you can message me on Telegram at Khalil Azrak, okay, about further questions. Now, common mistakes students do while preparing is that taking only maybe studying bases only, or closer to the exam they only focus on bases. As we said, bases only include 2005 till 2011. A lot of questions come from these booklets, but as well a lot of questions come from the recent ones like 2018, 17, 16. That's why we recommend to study all of the booklets, not only the bases and booklets like we said. Or people who study only the recent booklets from 2019 upwards, same principle. Or memorizing answers, simply memorizing answers, or using keyword too often. Okay, keyword is a useful tool, but right now maybe test center is changing some of the question pattern. That's why you should understand the question rather than memorizing it. Also, obviously, starting too late is like a very common mistake, and will make you stressed for no reason. And using a lot of sources, like 2 months before the exam you open your histology textbook and try to study it, or try to 1 month before the exam you try to do histology questions, and you still didn't you don't have your pharmacology, pathophysiology, pathanatomy understood well. So that's, of course, according to the questions percentages, is not the right choice. Common myths about the exam that we hear every year. First one is that MCQs in Krok are not scientifically accurate. This is just like some excuse some students like to do because they do not want to study. Okay, maybe I agree that the questions have poor language, especially the old ones. Okay, I agree that some of them really are exhausting to understand, exhausting to search for the right answer, not present in international sources, but it does not mean that it does not have a valid explanation. Yes, you need some effort to find the answer, but it's there. That's why our course will simplify it for you and give it you right away without so much effort. Questions are becoming harder. There is a new exam pattern, and this is a very, very common myth. Okay, and or just memorize the booklets, you will pass. So either you will find people that will make the exam very hard. Okay, it's new. They are bringing new questions, new exam pattern, USMLE type questions, etc., etc. Or make it very easy. Just memorize the booklets, you will pass. So let's see what percentages of new and repeated questions in Krok 1 medicine in the last 3 years. Okay, so this claim that new pattern of questions appeared after 2019, because in 2019 the exam was hard. Okay, 77 new questions appeared in the exam. And we said that 90 questions you need for passing. 90 questions you need to have out of 150. You need to solve them right. So it means that if you study the booklets only, you will know only 73 questions out of the 150. And you cannot pass if you don't solve the newer questions that first time appear in the booklet. That's why a lot of problems happened in 2019 in that Krok. But in 2020, repeated questions increased to 84. Okay, so you just needed to solve some 6 new questions and you will pass. In 2021, it's like a lot of repeated questions, 102. So if you study the booklets perfectly, okay, from 2005 till 2021, you will pass the exam without problems. So this is of course, this is not official. This is like my own research of the last 3 booklets, and it lets you have an idea of the next year Krok. it does not mean that next year Krok maybe will have more repeated questions. It does not mean that will become harder, but just an idea about all of these rumors that it's maybe not true. Lastly, why is it important to study for Krok 1 other than obviously passing the year successfully and avoiding unnecessary waste of time and money? It means good basics, means better understanding of clinical subjects. If you have a good basic, for example, this question you are studying about ketoacidosis coma, the biochemistry behind it, that you find it right now useless, maybe in fourth and fifth course you will use it to understand the management of diabetic ketoacidosis. So that's the idea behind Krok 1, is that you pass this stage so you are ready for the next stage. So it's important. Having a sense of serious exams, of course, as doctors, you will have a lot of serious exams in our lives. We will have them, and that's why this exam is like a great start for that, hopefully. Also, for people aiming for USMLE Step 1 exam, after doing Krok 1, you will have great solid information, foundation that you can build on to apply for that exam, and also a motivation for you when you get a good mark in this exam to carry on the journey of medicine. So if you like this video, you can follow us on Instagram and Telegram at ukrok1. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me on Telegram at Khalil Azraq. Thank you so much.